Welcome to the Entrepreneur's Odyssey, the podcast where we explore the highs and the lows of entrepreneurship, featuring the bold and the brave who dare to dream. Every episode, we dive deep into the strategies that work, the challenges that teach, and the moments that change everything. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out, these are the insights and experiences you need to fuel your own Odyssey.
Hi, I'm Brandon Moore, and this is another episode of the Entrepreneur's Odyssey. I hope these episodes have been helping you. The first season, we had some good videos and I think helpful tidbits for business leaders and leaders in general. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about some principles of leadership. Many people want to grow their business or they want to grow their organization. But what they don't understand is that in order to grow, you've got to let go of things. You've got to delegate what you're doing. You have to delegate some tasks to other people. And there's a difference between delegation and abdication. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but delegation is when you release something to somebody and you check on it and you don't ever fully just give up on it. You don't turn your back on it. You release it to somebody and then you ask them about it and you oversee it, but you're not the actual one doing it. Abdication is when you give something to somebody and you turn your back and it's not theirs, it's not yours anymore. You walk away. So today I want to talk about the principles of leadership that help you grow your organization. Craig Rochelle, he said, you can grow or maintain control, but you can't do both. And I think that is so key, so pivotal, that when we want to release responsibility, sometimes we as leaders, because we have this need to do it just 100% right, it has to be 100% perfect, we don't want to let somebody else do it. I've known lots of CPAs that over their lifetime could have grown their business, but never did because every one of them, I bought 5 CPA firms, and every person that I've talked to that didn't have staff told me it was just always easier to do it myself. Well, it's easier to do it yourself, but then it really limits how far and how big your organization can get. So we're going to talk about delegated authority through permission giving. And so what's the question? What is delegated authority? Well, in our context here, it means empowering team members to make decisions. It's empowering others to make decisions in their role. I used to tell people all the time that there's a couple people that I don't want working for me. One is somebody who won't do what I ask them to do. And the other person is who will only do what I ask them to do. I hire people that are smarter than me, better than me, because I want them to empowered in their position. I want them to really take off in what they're doing and utilize them. I think Steve Jobs said that you don't hire people and then tell them hire smart people and tell them what to do. We hire smart people and ask them what we should be doing. And I really think that that's part of empowering people to make decisions. And then delegating these tasks and just not just telling people what to do. Somebody always comes to you to ask, okay, what do you hear? And every time they come to you, if you tell them, if you answer them, then you eliminate the opportunity for them to think for themselves. The tax manager, tax associate, tax partner of a firm, I had staff accountants come to me, new staff accountants always come to me, and my next question was, well, what did your research say? Because I wanted to find out what they were able to uncover and discover what they were doing and how they were doing it. I didn't want to just give them the answer. And there's a progression that you go through with people that we'll get to later that helps them learn to get confident in their decision making, and then it helps you get confident in them making decisions. And ultimately our goal is that we're trusting our team. We're not just commanding other people to do things. We're actually walking with them through the task and trusting them in this process. And the way we do that is by permission giving. And it's a simple process that allows us to give permission for other people's to make those decisions. It's how you go about trusting your team and trusting the people around you to and do. And then it doesn't work, let's talk about it. We want the leader and the team member to gain confidence, and we want to multiply the capacity and the capability of the organization to reach farther than it does. And so there's 6 levels of permission giving, and we're going to talk about each one of them. But first, I want to tell you what they are. First is watch what I do, and then let's talk about it. In this scenario, you're the one that's you're doing and you're bringing somebody alongside. 2, it's let's together figure out a plan for what you should do. And then 3, let's propose a plan for what you should do, and then we'll talk about it. 4, it says, let me know your plan for what you should do, but wait for my feedback. And the 5th level is you should handle it completely and then let me know what you did. I like that. I like it when it gets there. That you handle it and then just tell me what happened. And then the 6th level is you handle it and there's no need to get back to me. Now, if there's an issue, yes, I want to come back and talk about it. But so this first level, watch what I do and let's talk about it. It's an apprentice type understanding. It's an area when a leader takes someone on and say, I'm going to show you this path. It's not just like my first couple of times in CPA firms, my first job as an accountant, I was looking for some training and CPA said, well, let's just look at last year. So I got really good at last year at re-engineering but it took so much time. And then anytime I made a mistake, he would just write a little X on the line that I got wrong and then just put it back on my desk. He wouldn't tell me what was wrong about it. He just told me that it was wrong. So this first part, watch what I do and let's talk about it. The learning process and the procedures of the company is the first priority. Learning the process of the job is the first priority. And for the individual learning, it's for them to ask why we do it this way is okay. It's okay for them to ask. Now, it is not okay, and it's generally during this time that we tell the staff accountant or the young apprentice or the person coming on that right now is not time for you to make recommendations about how we can change. Figure out how we do things first. The worst thing in the world is for somebody to come in and then tell me all the ways that they could do it better when they don't know the why behind why we do things. There was we did something a certain way. It seemed to some of the staff accountants, well, that just seems like overkill. That seems like you're just doing too much, until you got an audit and then you had to go and find that document or you had to find that number that was on the return. And then they figured out, okay, why we did this step. And so it's important as the process continues that each of the apprentices, each of those young people that are coming in or the new people coming in, that they learn the process and procedure first before they start making recommendations. And that leads me to the 5 steps to leadership development. So as you're working with this apprentice and this watch what I do and let's talk about it, there's 5 levels of leadership. There's the one is I do, you watch, we talk. The second level is I do, you help, we talk. The third level is you do, I help, then we talk. The fourth level is you do, I watch, and then we talk. And then the 5th level is you do and someone else watches. And so they've gone from the apprentice to the leader at that point. And that really reflects well with that 6 levels of that delegated authority and permission giving. That we've got that process working through each step of the way to where the young person or the new person is gaining confidence in their ability to make decisions and lead based on that apprentice. The second level is let's together figure out a plan for what you should do. So this is where we collaborate, where we get together and we figure out, okay, if a project comes in, then instead of me just giving it to you and say, you go fix it, then we talk about, hey, what would work here? And then you might receive instructions and follow directions as a new leader, as a young person coming in, or as a new member of the team. In this The leader really needs to develop their communication skills. And I'm guilty of this. I am guilty of being frustrated because I can't find the words to communicate in a way that the person can understand. And so that's a good thing, actually. That frustration tells me I need to learn their way of understanding. I need to learn a communication method that works for them. And then the apprentice, they learn listening skills. During this time, the young leader, the new person on the team, when they come in, they will learn how to listen, how to actively listen, how to take notes, how to ask questions when they need to ask questions. On this level, now we focus on understanding not just why, but how. It's the how-to of the process that the new leader, the new person on the team, starts to learn. The next level is propose a plan for what you should do, and let's talk about it. Staff accountants would come in and we'd have a tax issue. I would ask them, hey, don't come to my office and want me to fix your issue. When there's an issue, you come to my office with 2 or 3 ideas. I would like you to come to my office, okay, you thought about this for a while, now let's propose a plan or 2 for how you're going to fix the problem, and then I can ask questions. That's where the new person on the team, they don't come to the leader empty-handed. They know that they have to at least have a solution. That's where that, you're not coming with solutions, you're part of the problem. Well, on a new member on the team, when they get to this stage, they should be coming up with plans. They know the why of how we work. And so now it's, okay, we have an issue, let's come up with a plan to fix it. And we expect that team member to do some research. We expect that team member to look into ways of fixing that issue. And when you develop on this process, when you go through that 6 levels of permission giving that you do, and then you help, and then we come to the next level that you're helping along and figuring out the how, not just the why. And then on this level, well, you're actually coming through and figuring out solutions. Then the leader and the apprentice, they both decide on a plan. They come to an agreement as to which is the best plan. And there should be a lot of questioning back and forth during the plan. Okay, do you think about this? All right, well, what happens if this happens? Okay, well, the next 3 things that are going to happen after this, have we thought about that? Or has this issue happened before and we're finding a solution that might not just apply here, but might apply to several different issues? The next step. This is where no longer a babe anymore. We're now not just an apprentice, but you're actually a co-leader. You're on the team. You're a full member of the team. You're recommending solutions. And now when there comes up a project that needs to be done, all you have to do is bring me what you're going to do, up with this plan, and then wait for my feedback. I'm going to give you some feedback on this. I'm going to ask these questions. And it's really hard on the leader's part at this point not to be critical. For the leader at this point, it's easy for them to say, well, that's not going to work, or why would you think of that? Or well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Those are highly critical and highly, never be spoken. It shouldn't be spoken that you're not doing it right. Oh, you're not doing it right. I've read a lot of research, and my research says that this is completely wrong. No, instead, the leader needs to encourage and pour courage into his apprentice, his new member of his team, and say, hey, you thought about this? Okay, what happens when this happens? Okay, now is there anything else? What else have you thought about? What else are the issues? What are the drawbacks? Where you're asking those questions and you end up coaching them along to finding solutions. And they may come back later with a better plan because of that conversation. Here, your apprentice is gaining confidence in their ability to handle tasks on their own. The leader is gaining confidence in the team members, and trust is growing. And that's the thing. Trust is so important. There's a book called The Speed of Trust, and it was written by a guy who wrote the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, his son, Covey. So talks about how much trust affects an organization. And an organization, trust has cost, or actually the lack of trust has cost. Because when you don't trust your team members, then you have to go back and spend additional time fixing their problems or doing their work for them. And that's a problem. You end up doing work for other people that they're supposed to do. That's a problem. If you read one of my books, The Entrepreneur's Journey, or the Hero's Journey, talk about the 7 wastes. And that's one of the wastes, is when you're doing work that's other people's jobs, when you're a waste of time, when you're doing a job that belongs to somebody else. And so that's why it's so key that you have trust, and you have to go through this process to get there. But once you're there, leader, it's really hard. A leader really should be wary or be advised not to take it back. Like those CPAs that I talked about that never grew, never hired anybody. Hire somebody, and then after a while, you get so frustrated in the task that you just take it back. You're not helping that person, and you're not helping your organization grow. The last level of permission giving is you should handle it completely, and there's no need to report back to me. This is when that person, delegated authority has been achieved. You have released authority to that person. The apprentice may reach this level in different areas. And so again, this applies not just, overall. You may have complete trust in your team member in this one area, but in these other areas, you're still working through process 1, 2, and 3. You may be on level 6, 50 to 70% of your staff's jobs or your team members' jobs, but the remaining part you're still working on 1 and 2. It just depends on what comes up and how the leadership development works. And with this process, the organization can grow because now you've developed a leader who can then turn around and do the same thing with other people, because ultimately trust has been released. So this leadership path, I thought about it a lot as a CPA and working as a business owner. I'd take somebody who's either fresh out of school or an intern and bring them to a place of where I can trust them with complex tax returns, complex tax planning. A lot of it is dependent upon the individual. What does the individual want? So let's take that individual. So anybody off the street that may not have applied to your job, or maybe they're in the application process. Not training, and they're not becoming. They haven't made that step yet. But once they make that step, they've joined your team, then they step into that apprentice level. As an apprentice, they have decided to train, to prepare, to become something else. And that's a great place. Believers, we know that, Jesus, we were just in that. We were not training, we were not becoming. We were not believers, we were not becoming more like Christ. But the moment we asked Jesus into our hearts and made him our Lord, that's when the training, that's when the discipleship began and can really take off. That's when we are becoming more like Christ. We have become a new creation at that moment, and that's amazing. But becoming more like Christ is a process. Once you go from apprentice to a leader, what leader? Well, a leader has followers. A leader is actively mentoring. You can tell who a leader is by the people around them. If they're helping to develop other people around them, they're leaders. If they're collaborating, if they see people with needs and they're doing what they can to help them move from and become the best versions of themselves, or the best employee or team member on that team. A leader still needs coaching. The coach then is, I think, the highest level. A coach is where you're now leading other people and you're coaching them rise up. You're preparing them to become more than they can on their own. The coach develops the skills of their team, and they help prepare the game plan. A coach is leading leaders. That's about it on leadership in the 6 levels of permission giving. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I appreciate you guys if you would just like us or subscribe. Thanks, and we'll see you again next time.
Thank you for joining us on the Entrepreneur's Odyssey. We hope today's journey has left you inspired and ready to push the boundaries of what you thought was possible. Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. Don't forget to rate and review us, and share this episode with someone who could use a little inspiration on their entrepreneurial journey. Join us for more insights and stories. Until then, keep chasing your dreams and write your own Odyssey.